The fig is a unique fruit that stops ripening the moment it's picked. Biologically, the fig isn't even a fruit at all. It is, in fact, an inverted cluster of flowers, called a syconium. Hidden within its soft outer shell are hundreds of tiny, delicate blossoms. And here's a fact that surprises many people. Most of the figs you have ever eaten have, at some point, contained a wasp. To thrive and bear fruit, the fig tree relies on a peculiar symbiotic relationship with a species of minuscule fig wasp, barely the size of a sesame seed, one of nature's most bizarre partnerships. Yet, this extraordinary quasi-fruit has sustained human civilization for over 11,000 years. Today, a single nation dominates the global fig market, exporting hundreds of thousands of tons annually to Europe, the US, and beyond. The beating heart of this modern fig industry is Turkey. In today's video, we will delve into the sprawling fig orchards to uncover the tree's unparalleled pollination mechanism. We will follow the farmers as they meticulously hand-harvest the fruit and step inside the state-of-the-art facilities where figs are sorted, processed, and packaged before reaching the tables of millions of families worldwide. The journey of the humble fig begins in specialized nurseries. Growers select healthy mother trees known for consistent fruit yield, cutting branches into 20 to 30 centimeter segments for rooting. For larger commercial operations, grafting techniques are also employed to enhance the plant's disease resistance and ensure resilient, sustainable growth over many years. Once the saplings are robust, their stems sufficiently woody and their root system stable, they are transferred to the orchards for permanent planting. The optimal planting time is spring, immediately after the last frost, which allows the roots to establish quickly and minimizes risk to the young trees. In Turkish fig orchards, the two most prevalent varieties are Sari Lop and Bursa Black. Sari Lop is a golden fig cultivar specifically used for drying, prized for its high sugar content and reliable quality. Meanwhile, Bursa Black figs have dark skins and soft flesh, and are typically grown for fresh consumption or rapid export. The choice of cultivar made at this early stage dictates the entire production strategy of the farm. Turkey's status as the fig capital of the world is no accident. The region's Mediterranean climate, characterized by abundant sunshine, dry summers, and mild winters, allows the figs to fully ripen on the branch, a crucial factor, especially for dried figs. By combining centuries-old cultivation expertise with modern agricultural technology, Turkey has rightfully claimed its position as the global leader in fig exports. Regarding soil requirements, fig trees specifically thrive in well-drained conditions, typically sandy loam or light loamy soil with a pH ranging from neutral to slightly acidic. Figs are extremely sensitive to waterlogging. Prolonged moisture retention in the soil can quickly lead to root rot and dramatically reduce productivity. Therefore, every step from soil selection and hole digging to planting mound formation is meticulously calculated, particularly in large-scale commercial orchards. The process of nurturing the fig trees is a sophisticated blend of traditional wisdom and modern technology. The trees receive precisely measured irrigation through drip systems, ensuring optimal water delivery directly to the base of each plant. Periodic pruning establishes a wide, open canopy, maximizing sun exposure and inhibiting pests and diseases. Fertilizers, particularly phosphorus and potassium, are added in specific stages to boost fruit sweetness and overall quality. Furthermore, many orchards employ simple insect traps made from plastic bottles filled with fermented solutions to attract and capture harmful fruit flies, thereby minimizing the need for chemical pesticides and safeguarding the crop before harvest. Fig trees are long-lived perennials. After each harvest season, mature trees are typically defoliated, nearly all leaves are removed, forcing the plant into a dormant phase where nutrients are concentrated in the roots and woody structure. For trees that are overly old or show declining productivity, growers perform a severe stump cut, trimming the trunk low, sometimes near the ground, to rejuvenate the plant. Immediately following this process, many orchards apply diluted lime wash around the base to sterilize the soil, eliminate fungal spores, and provide a necessary calcium supplement for a healthier root system. Over time, through natural growth and repeated pruning, the tree trunks curve organically, the branches spread wide, and the bark becomes gnarled. Many of these older fig trees develop a majestic, sculptural appearance, resembling ancient specimens or carefully cultivated bonsai. Once the fig tree is established following initial planting and intensive care, it enters the crucial stage of flowering and fruiting. However, the fig is entirely unlike most common fruit trees. Fig flowers do not bloom externally. Instead, the entire blooming process occurs the structure we call the fruit. Essentially, the fig is an inverted flower cluster where hundreds of minute blossoms are enclosed within the soft outer shell, completely sealed off from the outside environment. In the early years, after about 1 to 2 years of planting, the fig tree may begin to flower and set its first sparse fruits. It is typically not until the tree reaches 3 to 4 years of age, when the root system and trunk are fully developed, that the fig enters its phase of consistent, commercially viable yields. From that point onward, if managed and pruned correctly, a single fig tree can continuously produce fruit for decades, owing to its remarkably strong regenerative ability. Because the flowers are sealed inside the fruit, the fig cannot pollinate itself through conventional means. Instead, the fig tree relies on a rare and highly specialized pollination mechanism involving the fig wasp, a minuscule insect roughly the size of a sesame seed. When the syconium reaches the correct maturity stage, a female fig wasp, carrying pollen from another fig, will squeeze through a tiny opening at the base, known as the ostiole, to gain entry. The entrance is so tight that the wasp often loses its wings and antennae upon entry, making it virtually impossible for her to leave. For the female fig wasp, this is essentially a one-way journey. But it is within this confined, internal space that the fig tree's critical pollination process takes place. Inside each syconium are hundreds of minute flowers. As the wasp searches for a suitable location to lay her eggs, pollen inadvertently falls onto the female flowers, thereby completing pollination. The wasp only lays eggs in certain specialized flowers. The vast majority of the flowers develop into the fruit pulp and the tiny, crunchy seeds that give the ripe fig its characteristic texture. The young wasps mature inside the figure. They mate, and the male wasps then chew escape tunnels out of the figure. The newly emerged female wasps collect pollen before flying off to another fig, perpetuating the pollination cycle. Therefore, the wasp that enters is not the wasp that leaves. The one that exits is the next generation. Notably, each fig species is usually linked to one specific species of fig wasp. Without the correct wasp species, the tree may grow healthily but will fail to produce mature, viable fruit. This is why, in traditional fig-growing regions, male fig trees, Capri figs, are maintained to cultivate the wasps and guarantee pollination for the entire orchard. Once pollination is complete, the tiny flowers coalesce to form the fruit pulp. The fig swells, accumulating sugar and flavor, and must fully ripen directly on the branch. Unlike many other fruits, figs will not continue to ripen after they are picked because the fruit's quality is only perfected once the internal biological processes have concluded while still attached to the tree. When the figs have reached their peak maturity on the tree, the growers initiate the harvest phase, though not all fruit is handled the same way. In Turkey, the harvest is distinctly divided into two directions, with the majority of the yield dedicated to dried figs, the product line with the highest export value. For figs intended for drying, primarily the golden or pale green varieties, most notably the Sari Lop, growers do not rush to pick the fruit directly from the branches. Once they achieve perfect ripeness, the figs are allowed to drop naturally or are gently shaken from the branches. These cultivars are characterized by high sugar concentration, low moisture content, and firm flesh, making them exceptionally suitable for the drying process. Immediately after harvesting, the figs are carefully gathered and laid out for direct sun exposure on plastic trays or drying mats outdoors. The sun-drying process typically takes between 7 and 14 days, depending on the ambient conditions of sun exposure, wind, and humidity. During this period, farmers regularly turn the fruit, cover it to protect it from dew or rain, and promptly remove any imperfect figs. Under the natural action of sun and wind, the water content slowly evaporates, leaving the sugars and flavors highly concentrated. When the figs achieve the standard dryness, their color shifts from pale yellow to a rich amber brown. The skin becomes slightly wrinkled, and the flesh is chewy and deeply sweet. This crucial stage determines the final quality of the dried fig before the product is transported to processing plants for further handling, sorting, and packaging for domestic and international markets. The second harvest path focuses on fresh figs, which requires a much more stringent handling process. Fresh figs are primarily dark-skinned varieties, typically purple or black, such as the aforementioned Bursa Black, although some pale green cultivars are also grown exclusively for the fresh market. These varieties share the characteristics of soft flesh, high water content, and intense flavor, making them entirely unsuitable for sun-drying or oven-drying. For this delicate product line, figs must absolutely not be allowed to fall, as even the slightest impact can bruise the fruit, crack the skin, and hasten spoilage. The harvesting process is performed entirely by hand, picking one fruit at a time, usually in the cool temperatures of the early morning. Harvesters must select the exact moment of ripeness. The fruit displays its characteristic color, yields slightly to the touch, and sometimes shows a small drop of white latex at the stem, the unmistakable sign that the fig is fully tree-ripened. Each harvested fig is placed gently into shallow trays and never stacked too high, ensuring its shape and quality are preserved. Due to their extremely short shelf life, fresh figs are either consumed almost immediately or rushed into a stringent cold chain management system, spanning from packing and shipping to the point of sale. This divergence defines the two fundamentally different trajectories within the fig industry. Dried figs are robust, travel well, and serve long-term export markets, while fresh figs are delicate and sweet, demanding absolute finesse and precision in every stage of harvest and preservation. The fig tree originated in the regions of Western Asia and the Mediterranean, domesticated by humans more than 11,000 years ago, making it one of the most ancient cultivated crops in history. From this initial cradle, the fig tree followed ancient migration and trade routes, spreading across the globe, from the Middle East and Europe to North Africa, Asia, and Southeast Asia. This long period of dissemination has resulted in the evolution of over 800 different fig species, each uniquely adapted to its specific climate, soil conditions, and local culinary culture. In the Mediterranean region and Turkey, the most common fig is Ficus carica, which features thick, deeply lobed leaves and large, sweet fruit primarily cultivated for fresh consumption or commercial drying. Conversely, many fig varieties familiar in Vietnam belong to different species, characterized by broader, thinner leaves and smaller fruits that grow in clusters and are widely incorporated into daily meals. Due to these distinctions in species and cultivation purpose, fig leaves in Vietnam are routinely consumed as food, whereas Turkish fig leaves are almost never eaten. In Turkey, figs are grown almost exclusively for the fruit. The leaves function mainly for photosynthesis, protecting the fruit, and are pruned away after each harvest season. Thus, the very same genus of tree takes on dramatically different roles in different lands, transforming into a humble everyday vegetable on the Vietnamese table, yet serving as a major export commodity tied to the economic history of Turkey. After harvest, fresh figs are quickly transferred to packing houses where they undergo further cooling, sizing, and quality inspections. Since they are highly perishable, fresh figs do not undergo deep processing. They are simply packaged in well-ventilated boxes and moved via a rigorous cold chain. The majority of fresh figs are consumed domestically or rapidly exported to nearby markets. Only a select, premium percentage that meets stringent standards is shipped long distances via air freight. When consumed, fresh figs are typically eaten raw, incorporated into salads, paired with cheese and charcuterie, or used in desserts and baked goods. Rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, fresh figs are known to aid digestion, support cardiovascular health, and provide a source of natural energy. This combination of soft, sweet flavor and substantial health benefits ensures that fresh figs remain highly sought after in the market, even though their production volume is smaller. Once brought into the facilities, dried figs undergo a rigorous, closed-loop processing procedure. The fruit is mechanically cleaned to remove dust and dry stems, then categorized using optical sorters combined with manual inspections based on size, color, and uniformity. The moisture content is carefully adjusted to maintain natural pliability, and the figs are mildly sterilized using steam or controlled heat to comply with strict international food safety standards. Based on the grading results, dried figs are divided into two primary groups. The largest, most intact, and aesthetically pleasing fruits are packaged in premium boxes, catering to the high-value consumer segment. Meanwhile, smaller or less uniform figs are perfectly suited for chocolate coating, packaged in everyday snack bags, or used as processing ingredients for jams, pastry fillings, cereals, or energy bars. For the Turkish people, the fig is far more than just an agricultural product. It is a profound symbol of abundance and prosperity. Thus, fig cultivation represents not merely farming, but a deep-seated livelihood inextricably linked to the culture and history of an entire region, where the fig has nourished countless generations. This concludes our journey exploring the fig. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support our channel.